Wow, oh yes. Well, this looks on the surface really great, and it plays well too. Right? Yeah, about that.
If you want to know how it feels to play Darktide, well... Oh, sorry, wrong footage. Oh, damn it! Wrong again! Here, there's the right footage. Oh, for fuck's sake, how did this footage get in here?
Now, if it wasn't clear enough already, the developer Fat Shark is masterful at rehashing somebody else's idea for not once, twice, but thrice. And by the third time, the concept has become so inbred it has birth defects. You don't think that that's a metaphor for the whole Warhammer 40k and the fact that it's made by the British?
Now, before we jump into the obvious comparisons, I always like to examine the test subject with my own personal seal-clubbing bat. So, let's lobotomize ourselves like an average consumer and forget and ignore all that stuff for a moment.
Oh, wow! This is amazing! Quite impressive! Oh, god damn it! Oh, come on, I was just trying to look around!
Warhammer 40k has always had this super over-the-top concept art style design, with skulls and gothic architecture all over the place. I love it! But games were rarely able to portray it, until now. Darktide takes the cake visually for all the 40k games, and in the rare moment you might even notice it when you're not being swarmed by the futuristic meat sacks with legs. Though, considering that you'll be grinding levels harder than a windmill on steroids, you'll get the chance to soak in the views. And even get sick of them. Oh no! What is this Death Ring footage doing in this review? Even the little character banter from time to time, which based on your character background is a nice little touch.
Sure, it burns a little, but it's free of tranks, unlike Lower Dine.
But what most of all sells me this world of 40k is always the pipe organ techno music, when the shit gets real. Amidst the scenery, cool details, and music, you get to slash, hack, dice, eviscerate, explode, slaughter, desecrate, and otherwise
purge the heresy, the unclean and unwashed.
Otherwise known as taking a simple stroll into a British sports pub. Gameplay-wise, besides some sci-fi guns and LARPing space wizards, it's a hack-and-slash melee combat game for the most part. So hope you like flying intestines, limbs, and undetermined body excretions, cause you'll be drenched by the end of the level, screaming like a psychopath after committing rightful mass genocide of a small country. It's fantastic! But all good things must come to an end.
With this new body, I shall never falter again.
During the pre-order launch, the servers were crashing left and right, as if the server hamsters got thrown into a microwave doused in gasoline. But that's the pre-order launch. It's all solved by now, right?
Sure?
No, but wait, TheYamiks, you said pre-order launch. Wasn't it called like a bait or something? Ah, yes, but let me give you an example. I can right now say 3 following things. I'm the best content creator in the Latvia, dubstep is the best music genre in the world, and companies abuse customer goodwill and pre-orders are fucking idiotic exploitative garbage. But just like the beta name the developers slapped onto it, that does not make any of these things correct. Only one of them is. So let's not be naive here. It was a deluxe experience for which the people paid money and got to participate as a reverse employees for QA department. Still, performance problems didn't end just with the servers either. Overall performance of the game comes under a question when you remember that you got the same frame rate or far better one from far more detailed games out there right now. But let's say you're that kind of a weirdo who goes and writes in the comments, "But I don't get or notice this bad performance you speak of." Well, I doubt that you'll be able to ignore how each level feels distinctly empty. See, the only things you might find laying about are ammo bags, heals, and maybe 3 bonus objective scripture items. And maybe extra crafting material in super small quantities. Exploration of these levels is just simply not rewarded enough. Oh no! What is this Warframe footage doing here all of a sudden? Did you hope to find some good loot, like weapons, secrets, or buffs, or hell, even those explodable canisters, like in Vermintide 2? The game that these developers used to copy-paste from.
Nope, none of that is here.
This gets blatantly apparent if you don't play with any of the guns. Then the game basically becomes a massive speedrun of the level. But okay, maybe the story will delight me. I mean, 40k has always had a cool lore. Yeah, about that. Here's basically how Darktide's story goes.
Oh, a new recruit. Okay, well, you know what Emperor would love you to do? That's right. Go play some more missions. Oh, the rejects are back, god damn it! Sorry, Emperor, damn it, you fucking forms! Now what you need to do... Are you listening to me? Okay, good. Alright, now what you need to do is go play more missions. That's right, grind some more. Oh, goddamn rejects, okay. Oh god, they're back. Okay, you finished grinding. You want some story? Well...
Don't worry, it gets worse!
What heresy is this?
Darktide has leveling system. Now, in most games, that's a cool feature that is quite enjoyable, but when you have empty maps with basic gameplay, the leveling system acts as a slave driver that's padding the gameplay more than Chinese sofa factories. You are already speedrunning levels because there is no point in exploration for the guns, loot or XP. Sure, the bonus objective items or crafting components are all there, but they waste time compared to just finishing the level and then starting another one. Then cram on top XP points that don't change no matter how you finish the mission. Quickly realize rushing through the level is all that matters. And quickly you stop looking at missions as fun, interesting story-rich adventures where you and your team work together to achieve a bigger goal. Now you look at missions as slotty XP dispensers. And the same happens with weapons. You stop looking at them as cool different entities each with unique character and just go with whatever has the highest random stats. Leveling system devalues your gear, and unlike Borderlands, Darktide has very small variety of weapon designs. So you'll be drowning in redundancy pile of the same looking guns just with little different stats in no time. But hey, that's how modern games keep the quote-unquote dedicated players around. Offer a promising game loop and then put endless grind loops around them, enforced by the leveling system. Then all of a sudden, no wonder you see people with hundreds if not thousands of hours of playtime in the same bland and empty gameplay. Oh, how did this poster get in here? Now understand that daily challenges or quote-unquote progression is not a bad way of extending the gameplay and make it feel meaningful. But in this case specifically, it has shifted the focus from completing the missions for story and fun reasons to grinding the levels, thinking that the leveling is the fun and story driver, which it really shouldn't be. I much rather prefer to play a game that does not quote-unquote incentivize me to return every week for the XP boosts, but rather simply is good to begin with, and I choose to return because of that. Now, of course, I'll beat the dead horse a little bit. The game had pre-orders and microtransactions. See, with the pre-orders, game developers basically abused the customer's goodwill, and in Darktide's specific case, basically got used as QA testers. And for what? To play the game a week early? It's just a disgusting practice. So no, do not support this kind of shit. If the game is good, it will stand on its own legs. And let's say Darktide is the best game in the world. That pre-ordering and customer dicking around is a stain on otherwise great game. And as for microtransactions, well, first of all, for $10 you get one skin pack. And we'll get to this, but basically for the same price you can get a better product in return. Of course you can't buy enough points for a single fucking package. You have to buy a bigger one because fuck you! God damn it! This is just a company double dipping or triple dipping as much as possible from the whales. If you want to shove out microtransactions, well, go ahead, make a free-to-play game. But for premium games like this, get this shit out! And because of this shit, rather than talking about getting achievements in the game and being rewarded with actual skins for that, which is a really cool thing, now I have to mention that the game also has paid garbage, where the company is basically predating on your goodwill. But then finally we come to the point where we really have to ask, YamiKs, is sticking my dick in a ventilator really such a bad thing? Oh, and also, is the game really that bad? No, of course not. Well, there are problems with Darktide. For an average person, it's a fine game. If you don't think too hard about it. Yes, it's time to point fingers and reveal. Darktide is the gaming equivalent of Aston Martin Signet. a rebadged pretender of a video game by a lazy company. Even compared to the last game the Fat Shark did themselves, Vermintide 2, Darktide today feels like a cut-down version of a job they did 4 years ago. But if you continue stripping the game like a cheap prostitute, under the hood it's a poorly and cheaply copy-pasted Left 4 Dead. The 4-player co-op, the character banter, endless zombies, segmented missions, special zombies, going as far as to be cloned shamelessly. The gameplay is the same, yet somehow notably lesser. No exchangeable guns littered across the levels, so whatever you pick for the mission, hope you like it. No alternative game modes like the Versus. And ultimately a distinct aftertaste of a lacking balance. Oh sure, Darktide and its copy-paste Vermin brothers have leveling system, and that's new, but it only hurts the experience. In Left 4 Dead, you select missions on how fun you think they are. Your gear and abilities are not locked by arbitrary gatekeeper called Sir McGrinderson, so you don't feel pressured to pick missions on their XP amounts on how quickly you can speedrun them. And at the end of every mission you see a splash screen of how many everyone's done kills so you can compare with your friends. Even Vermintide, the game they did before, has that! However, inherently it's not a bad thing that somebody copy-pastes badly your work. I mean, otherwise we'd not get Outer Worlds or Call of Duty DMZ. Hell, Back 4 Blood, the original Left 4 Dead developers, did that. To themselves! Oh no. You see, what all Left 4 Dead clones need is something to set them apart, cause, well, let's be frank, at the best of days matching Valve's performance and quality is hard, which Darktide doesn't even bother with and shits the bed with bad optimization. Sure, there are 4 different characters with somewhat different gear and abilities, but rather than offering variety, it just means that you have 4 times as much to grind and the team composition is more restrictive on higher difficulties. So what's unique about Darktide? What sets it apart in a positive way? Warhammer 40k clown face paint? Okay, I've technically seen worse. Even compared against itself, Vermintide 2 offers so much more gameplay. Then also top that with it being given out for free a little while back, or at the moment of writing about 80% off, and that just evaporates Darktide's value, like the promises of Star Citizen. So, are you seriously going to spend $40 on just having a very shit Warhammer 40k story with visual dress-up? Oh shit, what is this $5 Warhammer game with Space Marines doing in this review? In the end, I wanted to like this game so much. I love the Warhammer 40k lore. And yes, Darktide genuinely looks cool and sounds awesome, but the gameplay, even compared to the company's last game, Vermintide 2, feels like a shallow and lazy copy-paste job. And don't you dare tell me that, but TheYamiks, imagine if they could later on put in Tyranids or Space Marines in the game, or even that kill count scoreboard. Now, if you want to be naive enough to shell out money in vain hope that they will eventually add more quote-unquote value, then by all means, but I bet by the time it also will be half price too. And of course, let's not forget that Games Workshop, the licensing parent of this project, is possibly the least fan-supporting corporate entity that's milking their fandom harder than Nintendo. So I ask, do you really trust them to support the fan base? So, while you're contemplating that question, possibly in a toilet bowl, I'll much rather go and play Left 4 Dead with some mods. And that, basically, is Darktide. So, hopefully you enjoyed the review. Of course, I'll be doing a commentary track for the patrons, YouTube members, and all the other supporters. So, if you too want to hear a little bit of behind the scenes and just simply support the content I make, of course, do check out the links down below. And I'll see you then next time.